All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 8:30 and 15 seconds. Certification of open meeting law requirements have been met. This meeting has been posted. Everybody's gotten copies of the agenda. So we'll have a roll call of the committee members. Nutter here.
Becker here.
Waldera here.
Sorry, here.
Severson here.
Lori?
We're not hearing you,
Lori, are you on? Unmute
I
yourself.
am.
Okay, good.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Lori's here.
Okay, I would move for an,
How about the next?
oh, wait.
person on the line?
Is that Jane online?
Jean, is that you on? Is that a 608 number?
Yeah, it is.
Who also is on the call? Who is that?
Somebody being stuff.
She's been calling in all the time, Jeannie has.
Yeah.
She knows that. I don't know what her number is.
Well,
Well,
whomever it is.
welcome to our meeting, whoever you are, at 6:08. I would move for an adoption of the agenda.
I so move.
Is there a second?
So, second. So there's a couple of items. One, item 12, there was a miscommunication about dates on this thing and stuff. So if we can move that one to next month,
Okay.
I would
Sure.
appreciate it. And then likewise, item 13, the work plans, we can present economic development, tourism, and parks all together next month. I didn't want to put pressure on Mr. Jack here to
Have his work
have
plan
a work
ready in a
plan
week?
done after.
Okay, that's totally fine.
So-
Are there any objections to that?
Just moving 12 and 13 to February.
I look to you, Supervisor Waldera.
I make a motion to amend the agenda as stated and go forward.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes from our December 5th meeting?
Yes.
Are there any corrections, changes? I read
I'll
them.
make a motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll
That's-
second.
okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll have 3 minutes of public comment. If anybody is out there that would like to talk to us, or if there's anybody at the table that has anything, maybe Dave, you could introduce Jack to all of us?
Sure.
Just a second though, the call-in number is 715-538-1894. Oh, you have a comment? Yay, okay.
I do, if you guys are ready.
Oh, I bet I know what it is.
Probably.
Happens in March.
It does. I'm Haley. I don't know if you guys know me or not, so I figured I'd introduce myself. Haley from DLM. I'm the county conservationist. And I just wanted to do a little blurb for our silent auction that occurs in March. So Jeannie is correct, for our Wisconsin Land and Water Conference. So it is for conservation staff, and the silent auction is held there at our conference. And each county, I shouldn't say each, but a lot of counties donate to the silent auction, and then all the conservation staff then bid on them. All the proceeds go to youth education throughout the state on conservation. So the last quite a few years, I don't even remember how many, is we have, as a collective with DLM and Parks, done a 2-night stay at Petrick Park, and if we had any kind of swag or anything from Petrick Park, we have donated that as well. I have talked to Dave and Amy. Jack, this is probably the first time you've heard of it, so hello. And I would really appreciate if we could do that again, is the 2-night stay, and I know we have Petrick Park mugs right now, and I think that would be a great basket for this silent auction. And I'm also giving a plug if anyone else wanted to donate. They are more than welcome. I would need donations by like the middle of February at the very latest. So
Yeah, I think this committee is always, because I've shopped for a basket, we do a s'mores thing. And
yeah.
some fun stuff, so.
Yep, so we've done like a s'mores basket before. I have gone through like a craft basket, so like different areas or different communities around the area have donated. I'm looking at, I've sent out a whole slew of them, letters and everything to different businesses, different individuals that I have contacts with. So I just wanted to do a plug for this because it does go to youth education and just different programs. So if you guys are willing and able, I would really like to have that.
Haley and I
Park.
have already talked about this, and
cool.
we're square. We'll put together something for Peacher Park. There's no committee action necessary.
And I'll start a basket and I'll bring it to the February meeting, and if people want to add stuff to it, that would be great.
That would be wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Lori, did you have
Yes.
something to say?
I sure do.
good.
Yes, I think the private parks would be happy to donate stays as well. So that would include myself and Stony Creek. And then we could also do one from Waco, the Wisconsin Association of Campground Owners, so they could camp at either one of those two parks or any park in the state. And I could certainly bring some Green Bay Packers stuff.
Cool.
Okay, that would be awesome. If you would like, I can send you like my contact information, and then we can kind of chat a little bit more about that, Lori.
That'd be great. I'll have someone from my office actually connect with you if that works.
Yep, that sounds great. Thank you.
Perfect.
Any other questions or ideas?
No, fun.
Perfect. I really appreciate you guys and everything like that. So,
And we appreciate you, Haley.
thank you.
Thank
Have a
you
great
for
day,
your
guys.
hard work.
Oh, yeah.
You.
Do you want to introduce Jack?
Sure, I'd be happy to introduce Jack. So, good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Um,
Good morning.
So we told you in December that we had somebody hired that was going to be starting like the following week, and Jack has arrived. He started December 11th.
Yep.
Jack comes to us from the city of Chippewa Falls Parks and Rec, and I will let him give the rest of his introduction.
Thank you.
Yeah, so my name is Jack Has, recently hired as Parks and Rec Coordinator. My background is in Parks and Rec, and I'm very happy to offer services I've learned throughout my career to the residents of Trempealeau County. I have my bachelor's at UWL in Recreation Management with a community emphasis. Graduated in May of 21. Worked in parks and pool maintenance for the city of Toma, and then 2+ years of programming, recreation, and special events for the city of Chippewa Falls as their recreation supervisor. I also worked at O'Neill Creek Family Campground, where I saw our camp spot system operated, the same one that we use at Petrick. There are a lot of different avenues we could go down in what the county decides to offer. I see a lot of potential in providing more recreational opportunities at our park. This could be done by working with the local schools and organizations to look into things that haven't been available in the past. I am excited about the future of Petrick Park and the services I may be able to help in with bringing leisure to the communities of Trempealeau County. I'm also very eager to work with PTED in all matters necessary going forward, and hope to be clear and concise with my day-to-day operations and what is needed to conduct ourselves in a safe and positive way to the communities we serve. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions or something that you want to address, don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, thank you, Jack. I'm very excited that you emphasize working with schools, because when the park was imagined years ago, that was the key thing, was 4-H kids and
Yep, absolutely.
educational experiences. And you need to hook up with the 6th grade group, because isn't it 50 years or this year? You know, they talked about having a reunion, all of
Sure.
those people that came to the park in 6th grade for the last 50 years, so.
Is that for Whitehall, or is that kind of?
Whitehall,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
And I think Melissa Youngbauer's husband was involved, and she's the supervisor of the ADRC, and he was at one of our meetings, and he was pretty involved with that group, and he's a teacher there, so.
Sure.
Welcome, Jack.
Yeah, I'm
Happy to
glad
have
you're,
you.
we're so glad you're here.
Thank
Thank you.
I know it's cliche, but and I'll say it nonetheless, Jack has really hit the ground running. Some people don't, so maybe it's not cliche. But Jack has been in my office like daily, multiple times, saying, hey, what about this idea? What about this idea? And that's, you can't teach that. That's just intuitive. So I think Jack's going to do really great things for us.
Yeah, and going off that, there are a few ideas that I've had it's only been 3 weeks, but the main thing I've kind of learned is gotta figure out Petrick Park completely and gotta figure out Snowmobile Club and how to navigate that. But with my other time, that's time to improvise and time to look at new opportunities.
Can you make it snow too, please?
Yeah, no kidding.
There's no snow up north either, so
Uh-huh.
it's not
Gotta
good.
freeze first. We
State
gotta-
problem.
We gotta have quite a bit of frost before we get snow.
It's bad. Okay, thank you, Jack. Are there any other, I'll make one more, my phone is crazy today. One more call, if anybody has anything they want to call in about. Anybody at the table have anything? Okay. I'll end public comment at almost 8:45. I can't read the clock from here. 8:42. Thank you. Since we've introduced Jack, we'll move on to number 8, approve resolution accepting additional snowmobile funding.
So I'll let Amy explain this, but basically the gist of it is that the original amount that we had, in the budget for the snowmobile grant has changed. We got an increase
nice.
in the amount, and that was based on what, more miles, Amy?
The awardment came out after we submitted the budget, so we just have to make sure that they're in check. So that's basically what this is.
Okay.
What's the adjustment?
It's an additional $2,000.
How much?
Additional $2,000, so
Oh,
the
that's
total
good.
is $76,000
Oh, nice.
instead of the original $74,000.
Awesome.
Hey
Kevin.
guys.
Hi,
Yeah,
welcome to the meeting.
I had an emergency at my other job, so I had to get on this way and on the way in. So
Okay, so since you're driving and talking, could you mute?
turn off the video. I will. Yes.
Thank
yes,
you.
I will.
And don't talk to us while you're driving.
Okay.
Jeannie, could you have Amy repeat what she said because it was all garbled from him?
Oh, good, I'm
calling
glad
in.
it's you on the, we weren't sure who was on the line. Welcome, Jean. Yeah, could you repeat that, Amy?
Yep, so when we originally submitted our budgets for the 2024 season, we were not awarded the official awardment letter. So I went off from the amounts from the previous year, and that was incorrect. So this amendment is basically for an additional $2,000 on the snowmobile fund portion. So our total awardment was for $76,830.
So, Jean, we got an increase of about $2,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
You're welcome.
thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Okay. Then we'll move on to number 9, park update.
Yeah, so I'll mention a couple of things, and then if Jack's got anything he wants to report on, he can. I told him he didn't need to, but the big things are we did have a meeting with SRF Consulting, what I would call kind of a design kickoff meeting for the Rec Pond project. And what we really kind of just talked about was, verifying the scope and location, and, a schedule, proposed schedule for development of the design, moving towards construction. And essentially what we've laid out at this point is they should have some kind of a preliminary design for us to look at sometime in February. Idea is to, bring it, to PTED if possible in February. if not February, then March, but then do some final revisions and have something final to approve in April, with the idea that we could look at bidding this thing in the spring for construction, starting late summer, probably after Ashley for the Arts. Because as you all know, the rec pond site that's proposed is where we currently park people for the Ashley shuttle out at Patriot Park. So I think it's, I think it's a really exciting project. It's starting to get moving now. We probably will be having a meeting with the consultants again next week just to take a look at where things are at.
Dave,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, we've got time to think about parking for Ashley for the Arts. I kind of hate the idea of delaying any start of the work on the rec pond purely because of the parking, and knowing that that parking is going to be going away anyway. We're going to have to come up with other solutions.
Right.
Maybe it's not feasible for any work to begin before that time anyway, but if it is, shouldn't we consider what other options we have so we're not delaying that?
Yeah, and we're not, I mean, that's not an absolute that it will wait until after, but with the timeline, so there's other things factoring into what the timeline might be, including the fact that we may not get the actual final award letter from DNR until June or July. So it's not that we're trying to plan it around Ashley for the Arts, but there's constraints in the schedule that make it look like it would be better to have a later summer start, just because we don't want to do that. We don't want to get going on it before we've got the final grant agreement in hand.
I got a question for you, Dave. How many acres is that again that they donated? It slips my, is it?
It's around 5 acres.
5?
Yep.
And if we develop, and we have to develop it by the end of the following year.
Correct. Well, it's
Let's
the
say we
end of
deve-
this year now, actually.
December 24th.
Right, but let's say we develop 2.5 acres.
Yep,
Do we have to give the 2.5 acres back, or
No.
can we retain that? As long as we put something on the
Yes.
site.
correct.
Good, that's important. So then we retain that at least,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dave, is all the discussions you have very consistent with what's in the master plan for the park?
Yes, yes.
I guess I would just follow up with what is the intent, or how do we intend to address the parking for Ashley for the Arts once we do develop that site? Is that something we need to discuss as a committee?
It may be something we need to bring back to the committee at some point in the future. There's, again, we're not developing the entire 5 acres, and, there may be some potential for, seeing if maybe we could get a little bit of, access to a little bit of the additional land, the Shanks have. And this is not something I've talked to them about yet, but, or we may have to look with Ashley, at other options for where the people would park, or perhaps, reserve some parking at the park. We fill up pretty well with tent and RV camping for that weekend. And it's a convenience, the parking thing is something we want to keep track of, because it's a attraction for people to, frankly, to stay at Patriot Park, is because there's that convenient shuttle that Ashley operates and stuff. But that shuttle is not exclusively used by people that are, camping at the park. I think we get other visitors that just, use that parking there as a convenience, so not having to drive into Arcadia.
There's no charge for the parking?
No.
Is the campground full for Ashley?
We,
That normally happens even though we have the,
yeah, so that's, if we're done talking about rec pond, I'll go right into that option.
I just have one question.
Yeah.
Dave. Would it be, following up on Dawn's comment, shouldn't we be starting some discussion with the Ashley folks to let
Right.
them know where
think
we're
so.
at in our timeline?
Yes, and I've reached out to Cole Bowick at Ashley to start having those conversations, not only about this year, but about potential, what's going to happen going forward. And like I said, I think the Schenk family will probably be wanting to talk to as well.
I just have a quick question. Prior to us retaining that land, was it always used as parking for Ashley?
You know, I
Or
can't
is that
answer.
something we worked
I
out
can't
with
answer
Ashley?
questions like about always. I think it's been the last several years, but I couldn't tell you exactly
Okay.
how long. You know, obviously Ashley's grown quite a bit over the last number of years. And again, it is a mutually beneficial
Right.
arrangement for us to park, you know, them to let them park cars out there. So.
Okay.
Dovetailing in to this discussion about Ashley is the campground, or the reservations for Ashley for the Arts. We'll start taking them, it's a week from Thursday, right, the 11th, January,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Who is
So-
that adjustment for people who are always sitting by their phone at
Yes,
midnight on the New
yeah.
Year's Eve?
Yes. Yes, I made the executive decision to break with that tradition because,
no.
well, so.
Explain why.
Originally, yeah, it's a real simple explanation, a couple simple explanations. First off, so when we used to do the reservations by phone, we would just say, go ahead, start, you know, calling. You can, you know, the voicemail messages will be date stamped and time stamped. People could call in any time, but, you know, voicemails taken after after midnight on January 1st, you know, we would take them in order, and then it would take 6 weeks for Reed to go through the
Right.
list. So we did Camp Spot last year, which was a major improvement. We sold out all the camping sites within 45 minutes, but there were some initial issues with people being able to get online. They said
Right.
they couldn't get online, et cetera. And the decision was made that it would make sense for us to put that during a work day so that if there were problems, that we would be, you know, around and be able to take care of that. And the other thing that I think was an issue last year partially was the fact that we had a rule on Camp Spot that was just blocking people from reserving until a certain date. And so, you know, I think the assumption was that at midnight, the date of that would just go away, you know, and then people would be able to reserve. And I kind of feel like what happened probably is that it didn't work through the back end of the Camp Spot system immediately, and that might have been part of the delay. So we have now tested having a rule where we have a date, but then we can just delete that rule, and as soon as the rule deletes on Camp Spot, you know, that we do, then it's open for reservations. So I'm really confident that it will be, you know, fair and accessible to everybody at the time that we're specifying. The other thing, frankly, is by putting it in the, you know, in the middle of the day, I think it just gives more people an opportunity. The other thing I will mention is that I've had several calls, Jack maybe has too already, you know, from people saying, hey, you know, have you thought about just giving people who camped last year the option to have, you know, first right on spots for this year? And that's something that philosophically I'm very opposed to. And the reason is because it's a public park.
Right.
And I think we need to give equal access and opportunity for everybody to use that. I mean, it's great that we fill up the park for 3 days every year, but we've got a lot of other days that park, you know, doesn't get used, and we want, you know, people to have the opportunity, so.
Okay. Well, and I really, I like the idea that it's going to be during a work time, because I know some of us got emails from people
Right.
last year
Yep,
on New Year's Day, you know, why can't I get my reservation, blah, blah, blah. So good idea.
yep.
Good. Okay.
And Jack, I don't know if you have anything to add, or?
No, yeah, I just had a lot of missed calls for today. I think people are kind of thinking probably the same as last year with us only using Camp Spot. This is our second year now.
Yep.
So I think people probably were used to the New Year's one. And
Oh, yeah.
so not everybody knows, so we'll probably have to just kind of do another reminder or something on Facebook just so people know. And we did do one post on both of our pages, so
Okay, good.
people did get notified. Not everyone, because not everyone follows us on
Right.
Facebook, but
I know it was a
hopefully
big ritual
good
for a lot of
majority,
people.
Yep.
So,
Of
okay, change
people
is
that
good.
rent from Ashley got to see the message that it was the 11th.
Okay.
Was there any way, Jack, to send out the people, because last year everybody used the internet to reserve their spots, to send them a notice beforehand that we're not going with the January 1st day and we're going with this day, so that they would be aware of it?
There's
Just so-
probably a way, we haven't done it yet.
Yeah, that's
it's
a
too late
good,
now, but I
that's a
mean,
good
I'm saying-
idea. That's a good idea, Adi.
We should have
And-
done that in December.
Yeah. Well, we didn't, we were having some technical issues with CampSpot and getting this thing set up, so we have let people know right along that, it was not going to be, January 1st. It was going to be sometime in early January. But we have access to emails for everybody that reserved spots. And honestly, again, I think we probably could just, we'll have to see how easy it is to do, but I think we can cull all the emails off of CampSpot and just send a blast, whether they reserve for Ashley or not. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, anybody.
Just
who
send to
camped-
all of
even-
our customer
Even
base.
whoever camped all year.
Yeah,
send
send
it
to all
out
of our
if they
customer
used
base.
it. But it would have been, it would have been nice to get it out ahead of time so they would have been prepared for it.
Well, I have no emails, so people aren't upset about it.
Still
I
not-
will
Yeah, it's still 9 days, so we could definitely,
Yeah.
get a message out.
Yeah,
It's not
I think that's a
technically
great
too late.
idea, Adi, to have them do that. And then, guys, just a FYI, I'm sure that you're aware of this, but you know that CampSpot's looking at putting their rates up a bit, so just make sure that we're covered, as far as what the customer has to pay.
Yep,
I'm
we're
not sure
aware.
how far down it's got. Okay, great.
Thanks for the reminder, though, Lori. I will say Jack also did how many hours was the certification, Jack?
4 to 5.
Jack did a 5-hour intensive certification with CampSpot, so he theoretically knows all of the nuances of
You're an
CampSpot.
expert.
As much as you can when you're learning everything at one time. So.
Yeah, it's
I'm-
tough
I'm-
to retain everything in 5 hours.
I'm the
Yeah.
person who likes to sort of play around and see if this works, and this is the much better way to do it so that you actually know. But Jack and I have been working together on trying to figure out some little glitches, and I think we're definitely on the right track.
Okay, good.
And that's it for the park update.
Okay. Number 10
So this one was placed on the agenda at the request of,
of me.
well, I don't know if you requested it, but you mentioned it.
Well,
So I'm gonna
God,
turn
this
it
was
over to
like,
you.
this was before Christmas, and I was in John Austin's office, and Paul came in with, there's some extra money from the original CapEx funding that we got several years ago. And it's about $160,000. I wish I thought I cleaned out my bag, and I must have left the letter at home. But that funding is to be used for only environmental things, and parks was the number one thing designated for use for that money. So we've put a safety net around it, so nobody's gonna touch it. And I'll be at exec finance next Monday morning in case they decide to use it for something other than our park, because I think it's a perfect place to put that money. Because during the pandemic, and CapEx the purpose of that money was to replenish the damage that was done, I don't wanna use damage, but, by the power lines. People lost land, things were changed, they didn't,
So it's
kind of
power
used
line
to them
money.
now, but it was horrifying when I first saw those massive power lines.
So how much money total?
It's
did we get?
$160,000.
No, but total did the county get out of that fund?
2.1 million, I think.
So we're less than 10% of the total award.
So it was, I can't exactly remember. I wish I had the letter. I'm sorry, you guys, I don't. But money that should have come and didn't, and it's about
But
$160,000.
it's here now.
Yep.
So if we
I had a
had-
copy of the check.
Yeah. If we tack that on with the grant, that would get us a long ways towards total construction of the pond, then,
Right.
right?
Well, where did so we previously got $2 million,
Yeah, that money
essentially.
has been long gone, and there was I loved the way how that worked. There was a committee that came together, and we requested RFPs from anybody in the county on how to use that money, and then, it was used in really a lot of positive ways.
So the 2 million's no longer in the bank, so we're just looking at
Yeah,
another
that was like
160,000.
4 years
It
ago.
was-
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
Okay.
And this is just left over, or is this
It was
something they
something
extra they
that's,
gave
that
us?
we should have gotten that we didn't, so it was a gift.
So it's an extra
It
bonus on
was
top
like a
of it.
Christmas present for this committee. in
I put
December.
it on as discussion and possible action in case you wanted to lay a claim to it or something.
I've already laid claim to it.
But do you need a resolution? Can we take action on anything like that today where it would be?
I just want you to know I'm afraid to do that because I got burned by the exec finance committee when I did a resolution for a cost of living increase and they refused to act on it. So I'm gonna go to the meeting first on Monday and lay claim to
Maybe
it.
next month we do
Yes.
something with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could make a motion to recommend to the exec finance to retain that money in the parks fund.
Yeah, I would
That be
entertain
a
that sort of
You can
motion.
make as a recommendation to the exec finance to retain the funds for the parks.
Are you making that motion?
I can make the motion, yes.
Say it again.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend to the exec finance to retain the extra funds that we received from the CapEx. At I don't know what the total is,
It's about
roughly
$160,000,
$160,000. And for that money to be retained in the parks budget for the projects at Petrick Park.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I
Oppose? Okay.
I guess I would like to know a little bit more about what the options are in that grant to
Well,
use the
I was
money.
gonna say, if we had some time for discussion, what are the sideboards for that money, if there are any? But could it be?
Well, I know in the letter, when they gave examples of how to use it, the county parks wasn't the number one. It has to be, it can't go to highway, it can't go, there, it has to be used for environmental things. Like the original money, Rod and Gun Clubs got a lot of money. The National Flyway area got $400,000 of that money to do their education center. It was
Environmental, wasn't it?
What?
Like, it was almost all like environmental.
Yes, it was
something to do.
all projects that enhanced environment.
Does it help at all if we reference the master plan and that was already approved by county board and this is work?
I think your motion said
it
that at
cover
the
that?
tail end to,
To retain that money and apply it towards the parks project. at
right, the
Petrick
parks
Park,
projects. So that would be the
Okay.
master plan.
Just so they're aware that we've
Yeah.
got this master plan and it's been well
Yep.
thought through and reviewed and approved and.
Yeah, and the exec finance meets next Monday at 8, so
Okay.
I'll be there.
Just, I guess, speaking on the outside perspective for this, I've been doing like a facilities assessment survey over my first 3 weeks, just off Petrick and what kind of is there, what we have, what condition things are in, and there's plenty that could be done if we have that type of money to help
Yep.
improve existing facilities or replace them if needed. So.
Yeah, I think we all know that we can easily spend that money.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Thanks
Yep,
for
definitely.
prioritizing.
And I think it would be interesting, Jack, if you'd come back with a list and a priority list of what you think needs to be done out there,
Sure.
just so we get some kind of an idea what you're thinking about.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can try to get that done for the February meeting.
Yeah, I would appreciate it anyway, I think.
Okay. Item 11, was that
Yeah,
restructuring of DLM?
Yeah, well, I put this on here, and the wording might not have been the best, but obviously we know that there's a vacancy in the department after Friday. Mike's last day is Friday, and there's been some,
Is he still here?
he's off today and
Oh,
off
okay.
on Thursday, he's here tomorrow.
Okay, I was thinking today was his last day. Okay,
He's
Friday.
here tomorrow and Friday.
Okay.
But there's been some rumblings about that people might want to take a look at restructuring the department with the vacancy in the director's position. I don't know if that's actually happening or not. But anyways, I thought I'd put it on the agenda here. I know that Jeannie was at personnel bargaining last month, or right when Kellen said that if PTED had any input on either hiring the director or other stuff, that, you could provide that, so. I don't have anything specific, it was an opportunity for the committee to discuss if you had any particular interest in how the recruitment was going to go, interim leadership, any of that kind of stuff.
I was looking to see if, what the DLM agenda is. They meet tomorrow, right?
ELU
Yes.
meets tomorrow, correct?
Yes, and we have closed session to discuss, I'm assuming.
Because I don't see a packet for them on my.
Yeah, I have it. There is closed session planned, I'm sure, to discuss
Okay.
the temporary plan for
Okay.
leadership. I guess I'm interested in the opinions that this group has in regards to structuring. Is there thoughts about one way or another, or?
The only opinion I have is there's been somehow talking about changing things and doing things has been talked about a lot, like the gossip wheel or whatever you want to call it. And it's been upsetting to some employees who don't understand what's going on, and they're just having hearsay. There's so much hearsay, worried about their department being changed and moved, and I don't, I feel like that's one of the things that causes people to leave here.
What's proposed?
I don't even know what's proposed, so.
Yes, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, let me chime in my 2 cents worth here. I've expressed to Kellen that, I think my personal opinion is, I think the structure as we have it today, with the restructuring we did this summer, is really good. And I think it would be a mistake, and I'm not saying anybody's advocating it, but I think it would be a mistake to just, start peeling back things or making changes to the department, especially with a county administrator coming in less than a month. I think that that's not something you'd want to embark on right now. I think there's a lot of things that make sense about interactions between the department. When I first started 2 years ago, I wasn't quite sure. I didn't have a strong opinion for or against, but I was like, why is economic development, tourism in the Department of Land Management? Well, it does really make a lot of sense, because some of the things I do with economic development, tourism, are influenced by land use planning and conservation stuff. And I think, outdoors recreation and our natural resources are the strongest draw we have for visitors and potential new residents in Trempealeau County. So the best way, the best thing we can do is to try to keep those land use, conservation, tourism, economic development things all working together. So that's item number one.
And planning and zoning is really
And
critical
planning and
to what we
zoning.
do.
Yeah, it's critically important and interrelated. So the second thing is, I did tell Kellen that I would be willing, to lead the department on an interim basis. And, I've shared that information, with him. I would share that with the ELU committee. But I think what's really important is to have some stability and to be able to tell people, in the department that things are going to be okay. We're going to, look at things in a thoughtful, deliberate manner. And that, if the committees want to make changes, we can help make changes. We can help take a look at what are some options. But that's, I think, the most important thing, is that, just approach that process slowly, given that you're going to have new leadership at the top of the county as well.
And to piggyback on what Dave is saying, things I've heard is that separate zoning and planning and conservation and parks, and I'm very anti-silo. I don't like these little silos when we are all needing to work together. So I would be totally opposed to that, because there's so much interconnection between everything that we do, and then to just put people in silos makes absolutely no sense to me.
I would like to see some more information on this. I mean, just to throw it on the agenda kind of shocks you. And we have no, I mean, I don't have any idea how
No.
to speak on this because we have no choices to make.
Right.
Or no direction has been given to us or information on any of it. So I mean, it's kind of a jolt when I saw it. I go, what's that all about? And I think it's not proper for me to make a statement on anything if I don't have any information.
And
you
you're
know?
I
exactly
agree.
what employees feel like. They're like, are they gonna disassemble my department? Am I gonna be moved? And we don't need to have employees feeling insecure here because people are leaving here.
But we
And-
do need to keep a good, efficient
Right,
system in place and make it a comfortable workplace for everybody.
right.
That's what I.
Jean, did you have something to say?
Or Lori?
Or Lori, or somebody out there? I thought I heard. Okay.
Yes, I did. I definitely agree. I think it is very important for us to get information on sort of what the plan is and not act on hearsay or rumors, just make sure that we
Right.
know what we're talking about.
Right.
Is there an option for this committee to hear directly from ELU as we begin to go through this?
I'm on the ELU committee. I was looking at the structure just the other day, and one of the things with the Parks Committee is that, and ELU, is that there has to be a member on the board who is on both. And I like that, but what I don't like about it, one of the things that comes to my mind is not necessarily a restructuring of the department, but a restructuring of the committee. I think that there's a lot of,
You mean like the ELU committee and this committee?
correct.
Okay.
I think there is real opportunity in putting that work together, and maybe the meetings would get longer. I recognize that that probably would happen, but a lot of the work that is done in both areas, there's for the team, for the people who are in the departments, they're coming to both of those meetings and they're essentially repeating a lot of the things that they're saying at both areas, and because they impact one another, I think there is maybe opportunity for that to occur. I don't want to say we make changes necessarily to the department, especially in lieu of an administrator coming to maybe have some other opinions on that, but I do think the committees could potentially be looked at.
That's good.
Yeah, years ago, we talked about we always wanted to have somebody on this committee that was on ELU, and I think you're the first person that has worked. And we also talked about maybe quarterly having the two committees meet, because I think there's a lot of things we talk, I don't know if I want to sit through a 5-hour ELU committee meeting when we're not talking about anything related to
Right.
PTED.
And that is the other thing that I guess is a risk, right? But we could potentially have, something to the, well, I don't know. I think that there's room to consider that, because perhaps the people who are on those committees are one and the same, right? Like, we don't increase the membership, but we're all on ELU, and ELU is part of Parks, and that is what it is. But I'm just open to that option, to consider that, because I do see a lot of redundancy there. But I don't know about any other departmental changes at this point, in my mind.
That's good, because I got calls from nervous employees over the weekend.
And I think with this new administrator coming on board, and we've talked about this at the board meetings, that there might be a little change just in the whole committee structure. Because of the thing, we might be able to eliminate or combine a couple, just with having an administrator to take over some of the duties of some of the committees that put so much pressure on the committees. So there might be something evolving. This is going to be an ongoing, evolving thing for the next year, 2 years, so.
Yeah, we can't slam her the day she walks in the door like, hey, you got to make a decision about COLA. Hey, you got to make a decision about committees. Hey, you got to, she'll be going out the door.
Right, but I do want to be cautious about making any significant changes in lieu of her being able to weigh in.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'll
I
mention
agree.
that I'll mention I had about an hour conversation with Rebecca Gluen, our new administrator, last week. She wanted to get a briefing on what's going on with tourism, parks, economic development, and so I
nice.
did have a good conversation with her, talking about somebody who's hitting the ground running. She's not even here yet, and she's showing some interest in that, so, yeah.
That's one of her, when we met with her, that's an area that's really critical to her, is our committee. So, that's nice, makes me feel good. All right, I hope employees, if you're listening, and employees do, they read our agendas, they read our minutes, they watch meetings when they can. So, I just want everybody to breathe, things are gonna be okay. Just take a deep breath. 12, was 12 one we're putting off?
12 and 13.
12 and 13, okay. We need to move down to 14, approve amended resolution accepting bead grant.
Let Amy handle this one.
All right,
Amy.
so with me just starting in June and being the new one and with all the budget stuff, I completely did a typo on this one, so this is completely on me. When I submitted the budget, I put in for 16,000 and actually the awardment was for 18,000, so it was a completely typo on
Hey,
my
don't
error.
worry.
So this is just an amendment to actually have the correct funds on our budget for the 24 season.
So I think that the resolution itself may bring to question some things for the county board, the way it's worded, it brought to question for me.
Okay.
What it says is, whereas the additional funds will generate additional expenditures not budgeted for.
Right, because it is also on the expense side and the revenue side, because it's a wash, it's an in and an out. So the original budget amendment went to county board for the 18,000, but when I submitted it to the clerk, I submitted it for the 16,000. So that $2,000 is what needs to be on both sides. It's basically a 2,000 in and a 2,000 out.
I see. So I think perhaps just being able to explain that is okay. You know, if there's questions at the county board when it gets there. But the read on that is a little bit unclear to me.
Let me see. Oh, wait, I do have it, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Dawn, do you have a suggestion on wording, or is it just in the explanation? Because Amy or I will be at county board.
Well, and I'll be there too, and it just means that the 2,000 it's just an in and out.
Yeah, I just don't
Amount.
think unless you've heard that explained, it necessarily is intuitive in the wording. And I don't know that we have to make any changes to it. It's just that we can explain it. I think
Yeah.
that's okay.
Okay. 'Cause
You'll be there, I'll be there.
I certainly can tweak this if you want to.
No.
It's fine.
I make a motion to approve it with that
I'll-
explanation.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Lori?
No.
You have no questions, or
No,
are you
I'm not
opposed?
opposed. No, yes.
I just saw you take your mic off, and we didn't hear from you, so
I
I
know.
wasn't sure if you had a question or what.
No, thanks.
All right, any other questions about the bead grant?
No, but I have a comment.
Yes.
I was at UW Extension meeting last, I guess it was in December, where they are apparently also receiving dollars for bead grant for, I'm probably going to say this wrong, but there is definitely dollars in UW Extension that's specifically in regards to the bead grant. And the bead grant being the bead grant, I wanted to ensure to connect you guys to make sure that we're not having any rework or, doing the same work or what have you. So if you could just touch base with them.
Yeah, I certainly will. So UW Extension on a statewide basis is involved with providing some resources, to different folks regarding bead. The planning grant that we have, we're working with 3 other counties, Buffalo, Pepin, and Pierce, thank you, on getting to pull together an RFP to do, and that's not something UW Extension is working on.
No, but they had I believe it was a fairly minor amount of money, like somewhere around $2,000, $1,000 or $2,000 for survey. And I know we're surveying, so I don't want to see us.
Yeah, I will talk to them, and I know what the source of the $1,000 is, and we'll make sure we're not duplicating, but
Sounds good.
yeah.
I love your questions. Clarity. You're always seeking clarity. Is there any other comment on BEAD? Okay. We'll move to number 15, Economic Development and Tourism Manager Report.
Welcome, Kevin.
You're almost in time for the adjournment.
I know, right now.
So December's still been a busy month here. Started off the month going to a meeting with the Osseo Chamber. They're formulating a new structure up there, and it's very exciting what they're doing. They had a nice, I don't know what you'd call it, lunch and learn if you had it at lunch, but it was kind of like a late in the afternoon thing with snacks and appetizers and stuff. But anyways, they brought together a panel which included me, Mark Tallman, the Regional Economic Development person from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corp., and Rebecca Giroux from the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority. And we kind of gave a little presentation on different things that we have available to help small businesses and help communities tackle different economic development challenges. And anyways, out of that, I've had 3 follow-up inquiries from different folks asking, about assistance, with businesses or projects that they might want to do. So that's really exciting. I can't get into specifics just because of confidentiality. But that's exciting, and it's the reason that I'm really a proponent of going out and meeting with those kind of groups, meeting with city councils, village boards, just to brainstorm and let them know what resources are available. I did have a good meeting with Gunderson Tri-County a couple of weeks ago. Now that their building project is basically completed, I thought it was a good time to approach them and have a discussion about them. Kind of dovetails into another project that I'm working on, which is I've been in talks with a publication called Business View Magazine, which wants to spotlight Trempealeau County in a edition they're doing for February or March on economic resiliency in small communities and rural communities. And somebody told them that Trempealeau County would be a good profile, just like because, with the tourism numbers and tourism being such a big part of our local economy, how we performed so well, despite COVID, we hardly went down in visitor spending, but that we also have a very strong manufacturing base with Ashley and other businesses and stuff. So I've been working on coordinating several people to be included on like an interview with their editorial staff, talk about what's going right, what's working in Trempealeau County. And so that'll probably be a 5 or 6 page article, with some pictures from Trempealeau County that'll appear. And then the nice thing about this, working with this magazine, is it goes in their edition, but they also will provide reprints to us, a quantity of reprints of those 5 or 6 pages that essentially serve sort of as a marketing piece for the county that we can share with, potential new employees or, other folks. So it's a really good project there. Last thing I'll mention is at the end of this month, I'll be attending the Wisconsin Economic Development Association's Governor's Conference on Economic Development. Tourism conference will be coming up in March. So.
Do you have a question?
I was just going to say, that sounds exciting, number 1. Number 2, anything in the housing realm as an update? I mean, you kind of talked about that, but more specific to that.
So, still dialoguing with Arcadia and with Galesville. I did see that the first tranche of that money from those WHEDA programs for housing, I think the deadline is today. And I'm not aware of any community applying for those. I think Arcadia probably just isn't quite there yet. I think they've got some potential projects, and Galesville may as well. But yeah, there's going to be other tranches of that money available for housing and stuff. Mike, I think, is presenting tomorrow at ELU what he came up with for that housing barrier study in our zoning codes.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, I have a follow-up related but unrelated a bit. You still taking part in those meetings with Sarah Sipple? And
Yes.
Is anything happening, our neighbor to the north focused on rural recreation, and they bid on that for federal monies? Have they gotten monies, and have you seen anything come through there that would help us out?
No, I don't know that they've submitted a grant even.
Yeah.
But there's been no award of any money for sure.
Yeah.
But no, we do participate on those calls, and I get Sarah's updates all the time. And this is one of these things. I think there's a monthly call we do on outdoor recreation subcommittee, and I've been sitting in on those meetings. Jack's plugged into that now, so going forward.
Seems like there's a lot of that money supposedly coming, but I've yet to hear anybody
Right,
applying and getting any of those resources.
right.
Anything else?
Nope.
Dave, this is Jean.
Hi, Jean. Do you have anything, any
Um,
updates?
I do. In regards to Facebook, is the information regarding fisheries going to be put on both Facebook pages as well as other winter activities and things going on in the county?
Can you clarify, Lori, what you're talking about with fisheries?
That's Jean.
Oh, Gene, I'm sorry.
No, fisheries throughout the county when people get together and have fishing contests.
Oh, the ice fishing contest. Sorry, got it. Fisheries, not fisheries.
Yeah, I was thinking, trout fisheries. My mind went to
Yeah,
Arctic
sorry.
Springs,
Yeah, we certainly can.
There's
post
no
that
ice
in-
on some lakes,
Yeah,
though.
we can certainly post those as they come up and as they're confirmed that they're going to be happening. The weather obviously is
Right,
throwing a
I
monkey wrench
just-
into those.
Right, I understand that, but I just want to see that we have a better presence on both Facebook pages with that information, and obviously
Absolutely.
updates can be put on there since we want more information out for people when they are hopefully coming to our county and doing things, and some other research on events and communities throughout the county, so there's more information out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Great suggestion, Gene. And we've got plenty of imagery from last winter and previous winters on ice fishing, so.
So those dates are all set. Could we get them out there and say it with a stay tuned type thing?
You bet.
Because most of those, they still do the fundraiser. You may not just get on the ice.
You bet.
Might be taking a boat out this year.
Yeah, we'll get something up on the dates this week.
Hey, Dave, that
Is the lake?
Facebook thing takes a village, as you well know. One of the things that I was wondering is if we should put together a group of folks, if we can get together on a quick Zoom call or something, and get people from different areas in the county so that we can get more pictures and more stuff that's going on. Obviously, it's impossible for you to do it all. So would that work out to have some?
Lori,
folks
if you
do
wanna,
that?
if you wanna suggest some folks that we should talk to and send me something offline, I'd be happy to talk about the possibilities.
I wonder if the question isn't little bit bigger. I think what Lori is getting at is, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but what it leads me to question is, what is our strategy for keeping social media up to date for events within the county? Who's responsible for that? And is there more we can do to beef that up?
Yeah, it's a great question. And like I said, if Lori wants to provide some folks, that we think would be a good conversation, let's have that discussion.
Are you the only one that can add stuff to the page? Are you the administrator?
Those are two separate questions. I am the administrator. There's multiple people that can
add? Okay.
Yes.
So you're not
And
doing
Lori,
it on your
and
own?
Lori is one of them.
Okay.
It's the first
And
time,
you're
it's the
probably
first time
one.
that we've had a
Just
non-employee.
the Parks and Rec page.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the tourism and the Parks and Rec. Lori's the first county employee we've had that we've given access to the page.
I'm glad, I appreciate, in my opinion, I appreciate you getting access to a county board member, a committee member as that liaison. I think that's a good thing.
But
I
I
do
agree that
agree
I
with
think what Lori was saying is that would be a major boost to the economy to have our Facebook accounts list all the contests. I mean, that brings a lot of people into
Yes,
this.
yeah, agreed.
And you might even follow up with, and if it's a Leave Us contest, and you can get your minnows here, and I mean, just kind of give them all a little boost, because that's basically what the tourism is supposed to be for, and to help these communities put the word out that these activities are going on in their communities and this day. And I mean, the dollars that I see that all of the ones from Independence to Dodge, Blair, everybody, Leave Us Trump, they bring in a huge amount of income to the area. It's a big boom. It'd be nice. Any little extra we can get out there, it's a little more we'll get.
It seems to me that this was done last year. I remember there were pictures from the Leave Us Drum fishing contest and Independence, and at one time, and maybe you might want to revive this, we had a who got the biggest fish or whatever contest, and it included all the fishing contests. And I think
those are
the winner of that was Keith Edison's son from Independence won that year.
Is that the one that was? I don't know which one that one is, Jeannie.
That would have been like 3 years ago when we had
But I do know, like WHTL, they run. They've got.
they were at our contest.
They got one that covers all the contests, and then they're going to have winners out of that. People who enter into that, so it gets more people involved.
We did that 1 year.
And it'd be good to get
a lot
that
of
out.
work.
Some people don't listen to the radio, so they don't even know that kind of thing's
Right.
going on.
I think Lori maybe has some input.
Lori, did you want to say something?
I do, yes.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah,
Yep,
you're
yep.
good now. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, great. So yes, Dawn, that is exactly my question. You can throw all these things out here and all those different ideas, but until you really have a follow-up and who's going to do what, nothing's going to really change. You're not going to see any difference in the activity or in the numbers and the metrics of what's working and what's not working. You really do need to get a plan together, and if it's not, and it's more than just saying, hey, this person could help out. It's an actual plan. So that's exactly what I meant, Dawn. We definitely need a plan. Social media is just so big that it's really important to get that piece done.
We have Instagram, right?
Yep.
Because Facebook is not.
Facebook is for us people, us older people.
It's not the
We gotta-
go-to place anymore. It's like TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat. Those are the places where people look.
Okay, so again, Jean, what's the plan?
Right, so do we need to make a motion to create a subcommittee
can't.
to, it's not on the
It's
agenda?
not on the agenda, but.
Well, put it on for next month.
Well,
Well, you could give direction
listen,
today.
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Lori, this is Dave. I said, send me a list of people or, whatever, and we will set up a Zoom call or Teams meeting, whatever. We don't have to wait a month to do this, and start having some conversations. I mean, everything that was expressed, I totally agree with. And, there definitely is a need for a better system of people to let us know what's going on so that we can put it up. Any community event that's ever wanted to, be up on, our Facebook pages, we do, but we need to know about it.
Right.
And so I think, having Lori's suggestion of sort of having a network is a good first step, and then.
But Dave,
We'll
that
take it
needs to
from
be
there.
your plan. You put that plan together, tell us how we can help, but that plan needs to be yours.
Yeah, absolutely, Lori, it'll be my plan. But if you've got some suggestions of people I should talk to, then just provide them to me, and we'll get
Oh,
this
of course,
something.
and I believe that I have, as far as Tia and some of those folks in Osseo.
Send it to me in email.
I'll do it
Please.
again, sure.
I just need a little clarity. Are we looking at just enhancing our social media Is that what discussion is about?
I think in the end, it's about a plan for social media,
And I
using
think,
social media in a strategic, meaningful way.
and I think we should look at expanding the social media that we use, rather than just Facebook and Instagram, Snapchat, and I don't know how you feel about TikTok, but that's,
We're us younger generation.
That's where-
know the other stuff.
I look at TikTok a lot, and, there's a lot of, so,
So my plan would be to also include River Travel Media
Right.
in this,
Right.
because we're working with them again. And, I think it's all excellent points, and how can we integrate that into, the stuff Lori's talking about, into what River Travel is doing, and what can we do additionally ourselves.
okay, so let's get, so the
Absolutely. And I'm
plan
sure
is
you have a
to,
great plan, Dave. We just need to formalize it, put it together.
so in my mind, what you're talking about, the plan is to enhance our social media, to bring together a group of people from all sections of the county, southern, middle, and northern, to help this committee identify events and things that are going on. I'm not too worried about fishing contests there. Those are totally advertised and very well attended. But just having input on our Facebook page and Instagram, is that what we're talking about? Is that the plan?
It sounds like it.
Okay, all right.
I think I would go back
Jack,
to
do you want to
Dawn.
say something?
Hold on,
Yeah,
hold on.
yeah. So with my third week, I haven't been here too long, but I did kind of want to reach out to all the cities and introduce myself, and kind of start making that connection with all the communities in Trempealeau County. And at that point, when I start to make that connection, I'll be able to kind of look into things and kind of boost our social media, at least on the parks and rec side. Have experience kind of working with Canva and putting things out on Facebook, so that's something I'm confident I think I could do. So I definitely hear what you're saying, Lori, and I think
Awesome.
we're working towards it.
Part of Jack's position is doing social media and marketing, not only for the parks, but in support of tourism and economic development as well. So that's something that, Jack's in like week number 4.
I
So-
don't know that I understood that was part of Jack's
is.
work,
It
so
is.
that's helpful to
Yeah,
know
Reed
that we
did
have a
Reed was
plan.
very active in
Well,
that.
the tourism part of the marketing, it's a small portion, but it's like 5 or 10% of Jack's job. So
Okay.
we will be working to integrate him into all of these discussions.
Okay. It
And I
sounds
think
good.
if you guys have any questions, go down and see Robbie Petrick. He'll let you know what's happening in all the associated clubs,
I
any
know,
of the
where
clubs.
is he today?
And he could stop there and he'll get you the people to contact, or,
Yep.
you could, like you say that ice fishing contacts, they advertise themselves. But if you have one more outlet to put it on, people see it and might bring some people in. And this is our winter tourism stuff. In the summer, you're talking lakes and hiking trails and biking, but this is the stuff. So
Right.
we should just evolve and keep that going.
And I know that last year, all the fishing contest stuff was talked about on Facebook from every area.
I think we're talking beyond just the fishing
Right, but I
contests.
mean,
you know.
that seemed to be the thing that people were focusing on,
Lori keeps trying to talk.
Lori,
and the
what
poor
do you have
girl.
to say?
Dean, I would just like to say that I've asked previously, I would just like to get this on the agenda so that we could see a strategic plan coming from David Jack. That's it.
Even if it's just a tentative draft, because we know
Sure,
that you're new in your role.
absolutely.
But I do agree that understanding the strategy for what we're going to be doing for social media hasn't been, at least to my recollection, brought forward. And I think there is a big opportunity there. So what I feel like is happening a little bit with this question is that people are a little bit on the defensive, as if we're doing this work. Bring it forward. Just show us what's happening, so that we can understand it and maybe provide some connections and some guidance.
Yeah, we'll work on it in the next month here. Lori's going to provide me with some names of people and contact information so I can set something up and we'll put it on the agenda for February.
And it might be timely
think-
too for next month because I do believe we'll have IT there to talk a little bit more, because one of the things we wanted to talk about was if there's any opportunity to pull that tourism page more forward, and that's all sort of in the same realm of things.
So are you
And I guess
asking
maybe-
for IT to be on the February agenda?
It
Yeah, that
got
was-
deferred to the February
Oh, that's
agenda
right.
already.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Lori?
Yes, thank you. And I guess, Dave, just to be clear, what I'm trying to say is certainly not that we're not doing some things and that type of thing, and I can certainly help provide some names, but when I look around the room, I think we have a lot of brilliant people with definitely connections. So all of us should be providing you with, here's a contact for this association, here's a contact for this person, so that everyone can provide contact. Probably every one of those associations has content available that they would like to get out there. And together, we certainly can be a lot stronger than, 3,000 followers or whatever the number is.
Agreed?
And just adding to this, connections, I guess, kind of take time, and I'm still trying to establish these connections and targeting schools, the communities in the county, and the chambers of commerce are all great people to work with.
I don't expect you to have met every single leader in Trempealeau County in the last 3 weeks, so you two can breathe and get acclimated to your job. And
Absolutely.
I
mean, my
my
second
goal
or
is to
third week.
retain employees and not push them out the door
Sure.
in the first month.
So January, I've got a lot of rod and gun clubs I'm meeting
Okay,
with at
good.
their board meetings, and I've met with a couple chamber leaders,
Okay.
so
All right.
we're kind of in that direction. I think it's something we can work towards for sure.
Okay, thank
Excellent.
you, Jack.
Yeah.
The woman behind you is a magnificent resource as well. You need to spend time with her. Okay, are there any other future agenda
They're
items?
both married.
You guys are so funny. We're on
Well, it's just the way
TV.
the way you said it, it just
Oh,
sounded.
she's a wealth of information that she can share with you.
Yes, she is.
That's better.
She is amazing. Her family has been so supportive of our park,
Oh.
and we appreciate it greatly. I would like to put a big plaque in the park in your honor. Are there any other future agenda items? You have nothing more to say, ma'am, about next month? Okay. We'll know if we have ice next month. They're supposed to get into the teens at the end of next week, so.
Back to reality.
But the lake in Strum is not looking good. Next meeting date is January 6th at 8, or February 6th, I'm sorry.
My birthday's the meeting.
Great.
Suppose you could bring cake.
No, bring donuts from that place in Winona. Plato's, yes.
I work in Winona, but they'd have to keep for a day. I don't know if they keep for a day.
Okay, well, go there in the morning and get them.
There's plenty of businesses in Trempealeau County that bake too.
That's true, but oh my God, they have the best donuts in the Midwest, so.
Yes, they do.
I guess we're done at 9:46. The meeting is adjourned.